Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am Nikhil Kumar. In this video, we will learn how to configure applications running in Kubernetes using commands, arguments, and environment variables. These are some of the commonly used ways to tweak container behavior without modifying your actual image. So let's get started. Let's say you are deploying a container image, but you need it to run a different command, pass some arguments, or use dynamic values like environment variables. Kubernetes gives you all of this flexibility right inside the pod specification. And this is crucial when you want to reuse base images and customize behavior as per the deployment. Every container image has a default command and the argument, usually defined in the Docker file via entrypoint and the CMD. But in the Kubernetes, you can override them in the pod specification using entrypoint, which replaces command, and CMD, which replaces arguments. So that means command is equivalent to entry point in the Kubernetes and args is equal to CMD in the Kubernetes. Now let's try this in a demo. Let's create a simple manifest file. So this is our Kubernetes cluster. So kubectl get node. So this is the 2-node cluster, and let me create one manifest file, that is vicmd-pod.yml. I have already covered a pod manifest file explanation in very much detail in my previous videos. I will suggest to check it out first before jumping onto this one, because that will give you a more understanding about the pod and the manifest file. So first of all, we need to specify the API version, that is v1 kind. We are going to create a pod and the metadata. And here I am specifying the name of the pod, that is cmd-pod, and the spec. Inside this, we are going to specifying the containers information, and here giving a name, that is BusyBox, and the image, that is BusyBox. Now we want to run some command, so we are going to use a command keyword with the shell, that is sh and comma and -c and square bracket closes. Now we need to override the command which is mentioned by the Docker file. So for that we can use the args, and here I am specifying the echo custom command executed, and here I am going to use sleep for 3600 seconds, and I am also specifying the restart policy here. So our manifest file is ready. Let me quickly save and exit. So let's apply this kubectl apply -f cmd pod.yml. There is some issue in the pod manifest file. So there is a typo in args. It should be args. Let me save and exit again, and let's run the same command. Now the pod got created. Let's check the logs for the same. cmd-pod. We can see the command, the custom command got executed, output which we specified in the argument in the specification. Now let's say your app needs config values at runtime, like database URLs, API keys, or environment flags. That's where environment variables comes in. Let's update our manifest file to include the environment variables. So for that, let me copy this file to env-pod.yml. And let me update this, and here I am going to update it to env-pod, and here I am going to specifying the environment variable, and here environment, and the name is app_mode, and the value is production, and I'm going to use this particular environment variable in the argument. So let me delete this line and update this one. So here in this particular argument, we are going to use this particular variable, that is app_mode, which is being provided by the environment variable in the manifest file itself. Let's apply this kubectl apply -f env-pod.yml. The pod got created, kubectl get pod, and the pod is in the running state. Now let's check the logs for the same. Kubectl logs env-pod, and we can see the app mod is production, and this production is coming from the environment variable. So Kubernetes resolves environment variable inside the container, not inside the YAML. So we uses sh-c to interpret the shell. As you can see in this particular manifest file, sh-c to interpret the shell, so that it will do this particular interpretation inside the container instead of YAML. You can also dynamically set environment variable using the pod metadata like the pod name or the namespace with the help of config map of the secret. Now let's quickly summarize it. We can use command and arguments to override default container behavior. And we can use environment variables to inject dynamic values like environment keys or configuration. These are super handy for creating generic Docker images and customize them in the environments. And it also works very great with the CI/CD pipelines or the staging or the production setup and the multi-tenant workloads. And that's all for today on configuring applications in Kubernetes using commands, arguments, and environment variables. If this video helped you, please like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.